未熟なの楽しい時間がいいのかな本当の気持ちは秘密だよ秘密なの好きよあなたが殺したいほどこのまま二人でいるのかなほとぼり冷めたらこんにちは大人になるまでいいのかな本当の気持ちは秘密だよ秘密かも嵐が過ぎた後に語るにも落ちていくめまいを振りほどいて123で踊り出す456でも踊り出すどこまで二人でどこまで二人でモノマネスキルがモノマネスキルが楽しい時間が楽しい時間がいいのかな気持ちは秘密だよ気持ちは秘密だよ
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Tuesday night. Sun's just about setting where I am. I don't know how it is for you guys. Alright, so we're going to talk about Carl, as the thumbnail suggests. But before we do that, I do want to look at something that I found funny before the stream started. It's a tweet by Worski here. Andy says, tomorrow's live show is called the Worski Games, aka World Worski. I hope you guys are ready to play, ... Now, I have no idea what he's talking about here, to be honest. And I don't care. It's just his reaction that he's getting that's really the funny bit. This guy says nobody cares. Andy responds with, suck it. And this guy looks kind of embarrassed to reply to him, like, Andy, what the fuck are you doing? This other guy here says, Andy, you need help. Which is true. Andy, you need to see a psychiatrist. Stop goofing around. And then he responds with, okay, mother. Then we got this guy here. Dude, where the fuck is Chris Worski? Laughing my ass off. ... Jesus. And he responds with, did he die? This handsome motherfucker responds with, oh, cool. You started development on that video game you've been threatening? Or is this more being gay for pretends, quote unquote? And then someone else chimes in, what about the Red Dead Redemption content you were going to release with everyone helping with voices? And yeah, it continues with that. I'm not going to self-incriminate myself too much. And yeah, I just thought Andy's response to like these guys is just really telling of his mental state. All right. So there's also another little update. Oh, what's this? Suddenly this video of Sargon's has become age restricted. Now, this is very funny, and to me, it kind of confirms something that I believe CRP made a video where he said that Sargon should just step back from this whole thing because he'd lose his YouTube channel, among other things. And while CRP is a piece of shit, he does have a tendency to be correct every now and then about these things like this. And yeah, I would say that this is a sign, given that this video, which you could see before without an age restriction, now suddenly has an age restriction on it, means YouTube's keeping an eye on the situation, and they might do something to Sargon. They might just get him off the platform. You know, kind of like they did with Alex Jones and other people. Yeah, I think Sargon is just too hot a property to handle. And frankly, a guy who talks about how, you know, children can like consent to sex and it's perfectly normal relationships. Well, yeah, well, there's been an update on that as well, which we'll get into. All right, so let's switch browsers for a sec. All right, give me a moment. It seems to have. Let me see this for a second. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. Give me a moment. What stream would it be complete without a few technical errors? Give me a moment. Okay, here we go. Now, here we right. So the thing that got me started about on the stream, that made me go, yep, gonna do another one tonight, was this article here by the Swindon Advertiser. It's a local paper. Sargon has been featured in this before. I might show that particular article concerning his Kickstarter game that never went anywhere. But yeah, he got in the local paper. And right here it says UKIP's Carl Benjamin claims criticism over child sex comments is just jealousy, quote unquote. Now, I don't get, this guy does not understand, like, he's so stupid. Every time you think he hit a new low with the way he handles and conducts himself, the way he carries his persona and presents himself and portrays himself to the public, he somehow one-ups himself. And this is another example of this. Who would be jealous of a man that's currently being investigated by the police for comments he made in a live stream about, you know, the flexibility of age of consent laws and how and other weird child sex shit? Like, no one would want that happen to them. No one's going to be jealous of that at all. And he said these creepy, disgusting things about the matter. There's no arguing that. There's no getting around this. But our Carl boy, he likes to impress us and show us what for. So he's got some defenses for his comments in this article, which I'm not going to read the whole thing. But what's relevant in here is what he told the I guess the shorthand for the Swindon Advertiser advers is the adver for the paper. This part confused me, but this is to the paper, so they did get the scoop on their local YouTuber boy, which okay. And he told them, and he gave different defenses here. Now, I'll grant Carl this. Like, I think that these are different defenses for particular things. Like, for example, these seem to be a series of questions where the questions have been omitted, which I'm not so keen on that. I think that they should include the questions, but regardless, we can still like, his defenses are just dumb. Okay, so his first one, I was having a discussion on the differences between Greek and Roman pederasty with an academic who was a victim of pedophilia. Okay, so I don't know if Justicar has YouTube academics. Great, yeah, that's smart. I don't know if Justicar is an actual academic or not. Doesn't really matter here, but like, look what he does here. He brings up the Greek and Roman pederasty stuff, which happened a bit into the conversation when they're just talking about the general legal and moral aspects of it, and that's his defense. The ancient Greeks and Romans that we're obviously aspiring to. Yeah, that's why we have shrines to Zeus where you can sacrifice virgins to. That's real smart. Goes down a bit further. Here's the next excuse he comes up with. This one is really interesting, which kind of highlights a comment I made a couple comments I made in that stream last night. Here's what Carl says as excuse number 2. There is a certain type of gay man who starts engaging in sexual relationships when they are a young child and think they are the ones initiating it. Okay, so I just got to pause here for a second. Like, if he starts engaging this kind of relationship, he is the one initiating it. I'm pretty sure this is not the intent of Sargon's statement, but this just goes to show that as Sargon can't read, Sargon also can't write. Like, that could be its own topic, honestly. I don't agree, of course, but I don't know how to approach that topic. They are insistent that they are not the victim, and it seems wrong to insist that they have been abused because that would hurt them. So I humor them. I don't want to hurt anyone. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so a few points on this. One, if you know someone who's sick, who's not well in the head, like a homosexual or a homosexual that's been abused as a young child, you don't tell them that, oh, it's okay. Yeah, you were having sex when you're less than 11. Like you totally initiated it. That's exactly what. No. You tell them that what happened to you was fucked up. You were made a victim in that case, and you did not. That was not you consenting. That was you being abused by an adult who knew better. You didn't know any better when you engaged in those relationships. but the adult did and should have taken control of the situation and said, all right, let's get you to your parents. Like, assuming that that he's telling the truth, which I doubt that's how it happened. Like the kid just walked up to the adult and just said, hey, do you mind if you drop your pants? Let's just do it. That just doesn't fucking happen. Sorry. The adult definitely instigated that situation on. And secondly, this isn't some private conversation between Carl and Justicar. That's not the context. That's what he's trying to make it out to be. But no, it's not. The context is he's on a live stream to, I think back in those days, he was getting 1,000 viewers. But it doesn't matter. It's a public live stream. It doesn't matter the view count. This is something that both of them are making bank or promoting themselves with and pushing it to the forefront for public consumption. You don't shy away from what you truly believe when it's in the public sphere and do such a piss poor job of it that you just go along with whatever's said. And also, like, he does, and this is just a lie. That's the third point. He doesn't, like, there's a lie for two reasons. It's a lie because, number one, he says the opposite on stream. He says right to Justicar, oh, I'm sure you consent. In fact, let's play that part again. Let's see. Was it here? Let me just double check. Make sure I got this right. Okay. So let's play from, let me just triple check that. All right. I'm going to go about a minute after this part.
Lecture and scare quotes he's giving about what makes people gay.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it.
Oh, all gay people were molested as children. I didn't know
you
that.
did start having sex at 11, didn't you?
No, I said younger than 11. I didn't say the true age. It's
okay.
definitely younger than 11. But, so...
yeah, what were you going to say about Molyneux?
But I wasn't molested. I initiated their liaison.
Now, that's right. You say this, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure you did and everything. What's interesting is that there was a case in the UK recently where a judge basically had said about this 13-year-old girl that she had been acting in a predatory way, obviously seducing people. And obviously feminists across the country went fucking spare. They were just like, no fucking way. How could a woman and a 13-year-old girl at that possibly do something terrible? But, sometimes some individuals can be like that. Is it really so unbelievable,
Oh, well, no, the interesting thing about age of consent laws and voting laws and whatnot is that I don't know the history of these of the laws in England, at least the recent history.
Mm-hmm.
But traditionally, throughout history, in the common law at least, children, 8-year-old, 7-year-old, depending on jurisdictions, but they'd have the age of reason. Once you hit the age of reason, 7, 8, something like that, you were eligible for the death penalty for certain crimes, and children have been executed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's a bit of a strange proposition to propose that it's okay to kill them for appreciating the nature of their actions, but if they have sex, that's bad.
Yeah, it's
a bit. Really, my biggest complaint about most things is the lack of consistency.
Yeah, but again, most of these were sort of. I get the feeling that a lot of laws are created because one single event happens, and then everyone's like, oh God, we don't want this happening in future, so we're going to have to now craft a law, even though it's like, for example, someone was complaining that bestiality, not complaining, but someone said that bestiality was only made legal in the 90s in the UK, and it's like, okay, but how often did it really happen? I mean, everyone jokes about the Welsh shagging sheep, but how often does it?
Yeah, like, why should we punish sheep goat fuckers? We should be like Muslims and let them fuck freely. Great job there, Sargon.
Really happen.
You are blaming that legion of victim sheep. You are blaming them. You are saying their silence means that it did not happen.
Hey,
how many sheep have you walked by and heard them telling you it's bad?
if they're not complaining, then they're probably not being violated.
Oh, that right there is just ready-made to be taken out of context.
I know.
Oh, I love how those YouTubers set themselves up. Oh, the eternal context. Like, you say something stupid, you just later on say it was taken out of context. Never show what that context was. Never hope no one ever goes back and plays it. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that, like, if he didn't say it within that segment I played, I know he says it sometime during this stream. I'm gonna play it a bit more. I may have missed the exact place where he said it, but that's alright. I don't have to necessarily play that part. Give me a moment.
I'm waiting for Bewildered Ape to get on that one.
Yeah, Hannibal, the Jabba the Hutt or whatever his name is. That one's gonna.
Yeah. Hannibal the Hutt. Yeah, I think that's a good name for him.
Yeah, that one's gonna make an appearance in one of his videos.
Oh, I know.
And,
I know. Okay.
All right, Carlos, give me the timestamps for when he go. All right, Carlos, give me a link to that video, and we'll play some of that video that Sargon made. Because Carlos in the chat says he just made a video playing all the audios of each quote. Yeah, link it there, and we'll go over it, and we'll see which ones are bullshit, and which ones he might be taking out of context.
Justicar wants little children to be raped. That'll show up.
I tell you, seriously.
Okay, a bit of, like, also that part that just there, where Justicar joking about, oh, I want little children to be raped. I remember those videos, Justicar. I know you made 4 of them. You deleted them. You also went through your Twitter and purged any of your comments about that, about this topic there as well. But I remember that was there, and they don't not exist anymore. It's not a case of where they've gone to the aether. People made video responses to them and had to have saved copies of them. And yeah, your day of getting raked over the coals, it's gonna come as well, because the things that you advocate for are disgusting and unconscionably so. And I don't care that you were a victim when you were 11 or whatever. You're an adult now, and you should take some fucking responsibility.
His Shield Maiden thing is just, it's the most magnificent bullshit you've ever heard. Because most of his supporting evidence, it was, right, okay, some women were buried with weaponry, but again, that doesn't actually mean they used it in life. You know, you can give, people were often given things as status symbols, whether they use them or not. I mean, for loads and loads and loads of medieval aristocrats and noblemen in.
Okay, I thought it was this section here, but this part is still relevant for what Sargon says in response to Justicar claiming that he knew what he was doing when he was younger than 11. He initiated it, and that it was perfectly okay for him to have sex with older gentlemen at that age. Sargon brings up an example of a judge making a bogus ruling wherein the judge said that a 13-year-old girl was the predator in the situation, which is absolutely bullshit. There's just no way that a 13-year-old girl can get an adult to have consensual sexual relationships. She's just not capable of making that choice. Like, that was Sargon's response to that. Not just kind of like trying to veer the conversation away to something else, not trying to rebuke Justicar, just going along with it wholesale. And he goes along with it in other places as well. I'm going to go back and bit again. All right, was it here? All right. And here's the big infamous part here. Play this as well.
It's about control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, protecting teenagers from the depredations of older, presumably men, but I'm sure in a lot of cases women.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that,
Then all you need there is a
You're
law
just
that
smooth,
deals with consent, where consent has the classical common law definition, where a person is said to meaningfully give free consent when they are not unduly influenced into making a decision they wouldn't otherwise make.
How do you prove that, though? It's true, though. It should really be a case-by-case basis, but I can see why the whole.
Not by saying.
Would there need to be a trial? Would there need to be?
Yeah, and of course, one of the reasons that the age of consent law, not by saying that all the people who are engaging in perfectly harmless conduct should go to prison instead.
Yeah.
Law to help you. Why have solicitors? Why have judges? Why have trials?
Yeah, surely it'd be just cut and dried, opening shut, no problems.
Yeah, and of course, one of the reasons that the age of consent laws came about is because it is sometimes hard to get prosecutions for actual wrongful conduct. And I, as much as anyone else, I think, doesn't want people who are really predatory and manipulating and exploiting young people into doing things that the young people don't want to do, but they're too naive to have the tools to say no. You don't want those people to go free. I don't either. But the way that you make those people not go free is not by saying that all the people who are engaging in perfectly harmless conduct should go to prison instead.
Yes, this kind of war on drugs mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, The age of consent, just another drug on wars mentality. Those evil conservatives at it again.
One of the difficult things, and I haven't played this card with people much until about the last year. Now I'm kind of getting up in people's faces when they talk about age of consent. I was well under the age of 11 when I started having sex, and so what I like to do is put people on the other side of the argument. It's like, what you have to do is you have to say that someone like me, not anybody else, but me, that I was too stupid to appreciate the nature and quality of what I was doing at the time. So please convince me I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I think it's it depends on the child, really, doesn't it? Because some kids
That's what the
mature
Catholics
faster than
say.
others. Well, it's true, and it's true though. It should really be a case by case basis. But I can see why the whole thing. But it's not really something I'd ever put too much thought into, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I think one of the reasons that the adults I was screwing around with liked me is because my dick looked so much bigger. Their dick looked so much bigger in my little hands.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I'll tell you a joke. This guy I was dating, who we'll just call.
Yeah, that quote right there. Like, he's right there agreeing with Justicar's positions on why the age of consent should be abolished. And when Justicar gives himself as an example, Sargon just agrees. He's like, yeah, actually, he completely folds on the issue. Like, and I know that Sargon likes to play the very early bit at the very beginning with this part as like evidence as to why he didn't agree, like wasn't saying what he clearly said about sexual maturity and the age of consent. Because right there, he's saying that a kid can have a good, healthy, beneficial relationship at the age of less than 11. There's no arguing that. That is undeniably what he said. And he repeats that sentiment when he brings up the example of the 13-year-old. I know this is funny for everybody, but try covering it carefully because this may fall under defamation and slander. I threatened Sargon to sue me. I threatened Justicar to sue me. I threatened them to hit me with a lawsuit. Go ahead, hit me. Your lawyers can speak to my lawyers if you want to do that.
Yeah, what else were we going to talk about? There was
Oh, I was watching a program and that's program in the British spelling. It has all the 57 extra letters. And it was on a debate about whether or not to raise, lower, or keep the same the age of consent in the UK.
Right. Is this for heterosexual or homosexual? Just out of interest.
Heterosexual. Which,
Right.
it's interesting that you make that distinction because I was having this debate with someone and he goes, well, really, these age of consent laws are to help tamp down the problem of underage pregnancy. And I said, well, first of all, there didn't used to be such a concept as underage pregnancy. It was just pregnancy.
Yeah.
But once you impose an age of consent, then you can say underage pregnancy. And second of all, it has nothing whatever to do that. If it had anything to do with mitigating pregnancies, then the age that gay people can fuck would be much lower than it is for straight people, since gay people don't make babies.
Yeah, and
But it isn't.
okay.
But anyway.
And at the end of the day, if you've got two teenagers, then it's really not something that they're going to really consider themselves with. And it really is just for adults, and what's the youngest person they can have sex with, really, isn't it?
Yeah, where do you draw the line?
I don't know. I guess I'd probably say 16, like it is in this country. It seems reasonable.
Now, this bit here where he says, I think that, I draw the line at, I don't know, I draw the line at 16, that where it is in this country, it seems reasonable. Firstly, that is such a waffly statement to begin with. And Sargon likes to play that to say that, oh, well, I support the age of 16, ignoring what comes after, what he said, how he changes his mind, how he does a 180 in the course of the conversation. But look, just listen to what he says seconds after this.
25. I'm a good Puritan man.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't know. I mean, it's fairly arbitrary, really, because what's the difference between 16 and 17 or 15
I'll tell
and
you what the
16? Oh, go on.
Oh, I don't know. What's the difference between 16 or 15 and 17? He doesn't have a clear and concise position on this. And again, he agrees with Justicar several times when he presents his arguments about abolishing the age of the laws of the age of consent. Now, I don't want to cover this segment too heavily because I already went over the whole thing last time. And I do also want to comment on some new points that Sargon's brought to the table to try to defend himself. And here's the thing, like, when he talks about this certain type of gay man who starts engaging in sexual relationships, like, what he means to say is that gay men are raped at a young age, and they later, like, retroactively say that, oh, well, that was just I initiated that, like, trying to smooth that over. But the truth is, this goes on all the time in the gay community. It's an open secret. It's one of the things the mainstream media doesn't like to talk about. But gay men are pederasts, a great deal of them. And a great deal of them still are victims of pederasty. They were taken in at a young age, and they weren't born that way, quote unquote. They experienced childhood trauma, which fucked with their head. That's why they grew up gay. And that's the thing they don't want to get at. And I think Sargon is kind of subconsciously aware of this when he says there is a certain type of gay man who starts engaging in sexual relationships when they are a young child and think they are the ones initiating it. Like, it should really, with that in mind, it really puts to light, like, his thoughts and views on degeneracy. Like, no one who knows that should be in favor of, like, LGBT rights at all. They shouldn't. Like, it's just wrong. Like, the fact that it hurts has this byproduct of hurting so many kids with this large segments of this progressive and wonderful community that the left has established, that it should be done away with. Like, seriously, like, these people need help. They don't need, like, this positive thinking and emotional support. But that's too controversial. That's the kind of stuff that'll get your social media presence removed. That's the kind of stuff that will make it that you won't hear on television. It's the kind of stuff that advertisers will pull if you're like a conservative talk show host or whatever. You could lose your job over it. In fact, a lot of cases more easily than if you make, say, racist comments or sexist comments. It's really disgusting. I remember back in the day, Common Filth really hammered this point a lot. Maybe too much. Like, it does reach a point where it becomes ad nauseum. But nonetheless, that he was right about that. Absolutely. And I don't get. And there's also one other thing. There's another reason why I know that this claim here, that he basically kind of didn't firmly stay his position on that live stream, that he kind of maybe he's admitting here that he kind of embellished his position a little bit to smooth things over. I know this is a lie for another reason. The other reason being the conversation he had with Amos Yee. And I want to bring that up, which I will, because Sargon's left this on his channel. And I've skipped ahead in the conversation. I did go over this full segment of this conversation here on the last stream. So if you want to hear that, you can go to the one I did last time. But I want to emphasize this point just to make it clear that this position that this one of many positions that Sargon is throwing his defense out here in this article, like as his request for comment, is just nonsense.
What age would you set the age of consent law? Because there would have to be some kind of... Because otherwise, why would it go to a judge? You know, why would a judge even...
I don't think you need that little arbitrary line of age.
It is arbitrary, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the reason that it's chosen is because I'm going to permit that there can be examples where, I mean, Milo Yiannopoulos is actually a good example of this. Where, like, when he was 13, he initiated a relationship with
exactly,
another man,
yeah.
right?
I heard about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's very controversial. But the thing is, this is actually...
You hear that? You hear that? When Milo gave his anecdote that he initiated sex as a young man, Carl believes him. Carl believes this is a perfectly good example of a case of where a child can consent to sexual relations with an adult. And which Milo claims that at the age of 13, he and a Catholic priest, who he refers to as Father Mike, had sexual relations, and Milo famously said, "I was the predator." In fact, if you want to get... In fact, I'd like to play this clip once again. I know I played it before, but I think it's relevant here. So I'm just going to put that on air, just so you understand Milo's views on this.
So, okay, so you were a kid and you fucked all kinds of older men, correct?
No, not a kid. I'd say I was a sexually aware, promiscuous 13, 14-year-old, perfectly able to give consent, unlike the 8-year-old girl that Sarah Nyberg took creep shots of and posted sexually explicit fantasies on the internet of,
Okay.
which is what I'm getting from this video so far, but we may continue.
How does everyone feel about the age of 13? Is that like
I
everyone's
think the assumption
personal?
was perfectly fine, but the difference here is that I was giving informed and aware consent, and
Okay.
I was a sexually mature young man able to give consent and giving consent to sexual acts versus
you're
the exploitation of an 8-year-old girl.
You're saying that you reached sexual maturity at a younger age,
Yes.
you know, or at an early age. Okay.
If you pardon the pun, that
sexual
Milo shows
maturity
concern
is
for
Hold on.
paedophile priests who
but,
might
like-
get lynched, it seems
All right. God damn it, Paul. Go on.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Just I
Killing me,
can't
Paul.
highly odd that he led a lynch mob against somebody who may have looked at child porn or taken a photo of his cousin.
Oh, okay, Paul,
Not to
you
mention
can
the
pause there.
complete
You can pause there. This is disingenuous in the extreme. This person clearly knows the case well enough to know that there was no supposedly may have looked at child porn. There was in fact an admission of, you know, taking pictures and sexually fantasizing about an 8-year-old. Those pictures were then uploaded to the internet, combined with information, she doxed her own cousin, combined with information that was more than complete enough for anybody on the internet to find out who that cousin was. And indeed, 10 years later, I did. And even without the internet 10 years ago, you could have done it, and some people say they did. So, you know, this is disingenuous in the extreme, because this person clearly knows the facts of the case and is withholding them from viewers.
sense of awareness of how this priest may have abused hundreds of other children.
The state of the modern right.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not saying anymore.
Well, how old were you at the time? You were a little kid, and he was
Stop
like what?
it. You're trying to.
Was he in his 20s or 30s?
Yet another feminist strategy that you have adopted.
They said pedophile
I
earlier.
told you it wasn't pedophilia.
Okay, I would say Joe Rogan.
By the way, it's kind of funny how these two guys echo the same talking point there. Oh, you know, opposition to child rape is a feminist talking point.
Doesn't normally adopt feminist strategies.
Well, this is, I mean, look, this is a Milo tactic. He used the same tactic on us. I can't believe on this show of all shows that I am arguing this position against you.
I mean,
what a horrible.
Okay, just as an aside, when TJ fucking Kirk blows you the fuck out over being a degenerate, the guy who stuck a banana up his ass, when that guy does that to you, you've done something so fucked up beyond reason that I think the universe just collapsed inside of itself. That's just amazing to me.
Allegation. It's like you've spotted a trend in my argumentative method. How dare you?
If I knew someone around my age that was like, I just had sex with a 13-year-old, I would be creeped out. Honestly.
Yeah, what is your age? What is your age?
I'm almost 35.
Okay, well I'm talking about 28-year-olds.
Oh well.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes everything.
Well, you won't
Paul's
hear that
like,
in this
okay,
video,
cool.
I'm sure. I'm guessing, because I've never told this publicly, that you won't hear that in this video, but we're talking about 1325, 1328. These things do happen perfectly consensually. Often, by the way, it's the women who suffer in these, because what normally happens in schools, very often, is it's an older woman with a younger boy, and the boy is the predator in that situation. The boy is like, let's see if I can fuck the gym teacher, or let's see if I can fuck the hot maths teacher, and he does. The women fall in love with these nubile young men, these athletic young boys in their prime, and end up having their lives destroyed. They end up having to move schools, move the country, whatever.
Those poor pedophiles having their lives destroyed because they fucked young boys. Oh, in the gay community, you know, 28, 13, 25, 13, whatever. Like, that's what Milo believes. And he's actually making the, Okay, so back in, you guys, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. This did get a lot of fervor, but I don't know how widespread it was. But I think it was back in 2017. There was this controversy over this organization called Hearts Progress. For those of you whose stomach is churning, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Hearts Progress was a super duper liberal, you know, what the skeptics would call SJW front that was full-heartedly arguing that pedophiles should be included in the LGBT community explicitly, not just covertly like under the radar like it is now, but they actually wanted the P added to, LGBT, which, I mean, like, well, on one hand you could say, well, now they're being honest, but the way they argued was exactly the same as that. One of the talking points was exactly what Milo said, that they would have their lives destroyed and ruined. Now, keep that in mind as we continue listening to the Sargon and Amos Yee conversation. So let's go back to that.
Something that's happened many times in human history, like the ancient Greeks practiced pederasty, and it was considered completely normal, where young boys would have relationships, but they weren't exploitative relationships. There was sexual.
Exactly.
They were also it was like a pair bonding, like a mentoring relationship. It was very strange, and I don't agree with any of this.
Somebody's going to misrepresent you and me and say we're going to abuse.
Someone is going to misrepresent me, trying to accurately.
Oh, there it is again. The I'm going to be misrepresented. Ho ho ho. Oh dearie me. Did I just just another slimy YouTuber tactic that they like to throw out there. And I think the best way to sum that up is the eternal context, because Sargon can just pull out clips that have nothing on other parts of conversations and say that's relevant, or he could bring up how he was feeling that week, or he can bring up his frequent memory problems that he has, or he can bring up how things are just inconvenient for him to say the truth or his actual position like he has here. But realistically, people who aren't idiots or morons, they'll listen to what you said. They'll listen to what you will say. They will take in the full context, and they'll understand that you're full of shit. So it doesn't matter how much they want to stress this. When you say stupid shit, bring up irrelevant crap isn't going to save your ass. It's not a good shield, and all you end up doing is doubling down and falling flat in your face.
Represent your position as it being my position, because I know what people are like. I personally think the age of consent laws at 16 are just fine. I think they're great. I think we should keep them like that, and I say that as a father. But I'm just trying to understand. And the thing is, this is the thing. Throughout history, there have been many examples of pederasty. I mean, it still happens in Afghanistan now. I mean, no one wants to talk about that, But so I can accept that there are instances where it is not necessarily exploitative. But the reason I think that an age of consent law at, say, 16, I mean, even at 14 I find too young, but that's only because I have cousins who are young, and I don't think at 14 they should be having sex with adults, I think it would be exploitative whether they realized it or not, because I don't think they're mature enough to really understand what they're doing.
Well, you said that, Milo, 13-year-old, having sex with a priest, like, that should be fine, right? The priest and Milo should not
I'm not saying in that individual case, I'm willing to believe Milo when he said he initiated it and he knew what he was doing, right? But the reason I like age of consent laws, I approve of them, is because they're a blanket protection for people who would get into that situation without knowing exactly what they're doing, without and being exploited by an adult who was taking advantage of the fact that this young kid was 13, 14, they're just reaching their sexual maturity, they've got all these confusing feelings, they're not too sure, and they are going to end up experimenting in ways they might not actually be comfortable with, whether they realize it.
Sure.
And so to make sure that none of these people are victimized in this way by an adult who's looking to exploit them, I think an age of consent law at 16, I think you know what you're doing.
So you think the age of consent laws is necessary in deterring this kind of exploitation, even though there's still, exploitation laws, Because, children, if somebody exploits, underage children, they're going to get punished.
Well, only
regardless of whether or not there's an age of consent law.
Only if there's an age of consent law, because otherwise it's not wrong. Otherwise there's no grounds to punish them on, is there?
Oh, no, there is, because, they generally exploited the child. Like, what you're talking about, exploitation
How do you know it's exploitation? I mean, by what legal means is it exploitation?
That there are many variables to that, just like whether or not, you decide whether the person got raped or not. Get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but
it depends on the case.
If they're young and they think they're consenting, or, I don't even know if they know, but, there are many, complex factors involved.
Exactly.
But as a blanket rule, just as a general protection to guarantee the minimum number of these things happening, I think an age of consent law is a useful thing to have. And while, like I said, there are going to be examples of people like Milo who are a bit precocious and mature beyond.
I feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
and probably like speak out against it. Let's say the priest who fucked 13-year-old Milo got arrested.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well,
but based on your age of consent law, that would be fine.
Based on the age of consent law, he should be punished. And in Milo's particular case, then you could be looking at a situation where no harm has actually been done, and in fact Milo, he described it as a pederastic relationship, and so for him he found it beneficial and he liked it, right?
Yeah.
And he was the one initiating it. And so yeah, the priest would be punished because there was no harm done because he broke the law. I accept that. But so I can accept that there may well be individual instances where no harm is done and the law is still broken.
Exactly.
But I think the law's existence protects many other people, a greater number of people, from being exploited. And I think that, if a judge were to, if the priest was on trial and Milo was there and he was giving evidence, I imagine it would be up to the discretion of a judge to make a sensible decision in a case like that. So the priest maybe get the minimum punishment or something like that. But I don't think doing away with age of consent laws is a healthy thing to do. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. You're thinking if you reduce the age of consent laws, there'll suddenly be
I think there'll be an increase
of child abuse.
Yes.
But I think that is much more determined less by just, isolating the incident and reducing.
Okay, so you heard it from Sargon himself. The case of Milo, there was no harm done, everything was fine. He believes Milo, he takes him at his word, and the priest shouldn't be punished for it, and it was beneficial for both of them. Like, what the fuck? Like, so flat out, what he says in this response to the Swindon Advertiser, when he says that, that he believes that Justicar is a victim of pedophilia, he's lying, flat out. He doesn't believe that. He takes these people at their word because he has to network with them. Unless he's lying to them, in which case he has no backbone, no spine, as a jellyfish. And when it comes to these issues, yeah, he'd cave on an instant on these things. Because, he can't possibly stand up to the gay community. That'd be mean. That'd be harmful to say that they're engaged in a horrible system that creates and has that mixes predators and victims together. And they excuse it. And they dismiss it. I mean, it's not just the furry fandom that does this. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. Okay. There are some other, let me go through the other excuses that he makes. Imagine taking a Jimmy Carr or Frankie Boyle joke out of context and then presenting as a serious statement. I will give Sargon some slack on this particular point. Some of the things that Sargon is being attacked for were just trivial jokes that he made. But not everything. Like the statements that I show on this channel, the ones that I called him out for, the positions that he's advocated for when it comes to this issue, no, that's not being taken out of context. It might be a rush. Now, granted, it might be a rush job. You could say the motive of these newspapers is to destroy his name. And that's all well and good. But, no, him being raked over the coals for this, him getting all the slack for it, no, that's not undeserved. He's not a victim here. It's not a case where they're just making things out of thin air. These are things he said. No, and these are things that should be brought to light in the forefront. Absolutely. It was a clumsy phrasing, but it was obviously not serious. We laughed about it afterwards. I haven't taken the video down. I stand by everything I said. Oh, that's funny, because just a moment ago you said that there's a certain type of gay man who starts engaging in sexual relationships, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree, of course, but I don't know how to approach that topic. They are insistent they are not the victim, and it seemed wrong to insist that they have been abused because that would hurt them. So I humor them. I don't want to hurt anyone. No, Carl, you don't stand by everything you said. You just took back what you said in your conversation with Justicar. Carl, to stand by what you said would mean to have, you would have a spine on this issue if you were to, take a position, but you're too much of a fence sitter. And that also shows your character. When it comes to a tough decision or an issue, it doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to be the age of consent. It can be any issue. if that's going to come up before, like, the European Parliament, and you're in charge there having to make those big decisions, which I'm laughing at that idea at this point because that's just, I mean, is the EU so bad at this point that they would actually have Carl running it? If Europe has Carl Benjamin, a YouTuber who reads the news, comes up with dumb takes, and is just a general moron, if they have him running Europe, has Europe fallen to the point? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Do you think that Europe is so fallen that Carl is going to be the hero that nobody asked for, but will run the country anyway? I don't know. I'm going to press exit out personally. All right, so yeah, this is just more nonsense. Oh, and here's a quote. It's jealousy from Mr. Benjamin hit out at the UKIP member who collected a dossier of his offensive comments, including screenshots of tweets which he claims are fake, and sent it to the Mail on Sunday and Whiteshall and the police. He added, and again, I cannot pronounce anything foreign, even if it's in English. I just can't do it. Moving on. He added, it's jealousy from someone who has seen me come into the party and have quite an impact. That's the source of it all. The everyman, ladies and gentlemen, the guy who's just like you. People are jealous of him because he's special. He's important. He's a great figure. Okay. I guess we could read some more funny, it's just getting worse for Sargon. Let me see if I could find an article that I had found. And by the way, Carlos, if you're still here, yeah, I did see the video you linked in there. I will be going over that in a moment. Actually, let's go over that now, and we'll get to the other funny articles in a moment. Let me just take a look at this. All right, so
you are just smear not.
Give me a second. All right, let's put this in the correct browser.
You are just smear.
Hopefully, we won't have to hear that quote again. All right, give me a sec. All right, here we go. All right, gonna press play.
Not one of you can tell me what I believe. Not one of you knows. But all of the public know because they can go to my YouTube channel, Sargon the Cad, and just watch for themselves.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Right off the bat, he fucks up. Okay, so the thing is, they're taking statements that you said on your channel, on your live streams and your videos, and they're quoting them back to you. They're not taking false quotes. They're taking things that you said from your mouth and putting it to your face. And you're telling them to check out your YouTube channel to show what you really believe. And then you say, no, that's wrong. You don't think, do you? Also, another point about this. It seems to me that Sargon is more interested in promoting his YouTube channel than any kind of position he may potentially have at any time ever. It's just sad, really.
Dirty, dirty smear merchants, get back!
Claim Sargon thinks black people are genetically predisposed to violence. That's interesting because I do recall him doing a very interesting video on race, but let's make this a little bit of a digging stream. Why not?
He's a self-professed racist. He thinks that the white race is superior. He thinks that races, people, individuals, are inclined to act as they are, as their genetics would determine, and not just in broad strokes like with men and women, which might be plausibly true, but in as far as I can tell, quite specific ways, as in blacks are more inherently prone to violence, or whites are smarter, or Asians are smarter still, and I know that statistically they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean genetically they are. That just means that, you know, this is the end result, and we shouldn't assume the cause if we don't actually know it.
Now, this isn't me trying to be excessively liberal. I mean, one of the first things that people sort of had a go at me for in this chat was that I don't believe in race. And what do you mean I don't believe in race? I mean, are you suggesting that I'm looking at other people and I don't think that they are of different races to me?
Okay, this is boring and stupid. This isn't really debunking anything. All that Sargon's doing is purporting that, well, people say, like, this is something that's really disgusting about Sargon. What Sargon does, his whole shtick is, what this guy does, is he claims that everyone else is lying, in particular the mainstream media. Like, all the news is lying, New York Times is lying, CNN is lying, this other people's lying, blah, 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 blah. And he puts himself as a type of person that can arbit the truth from fiction. Because, like, not everything they say can be a lie, right? I mean, there has to be some truth things put in there, otherwise it wouldn't get any traction. So he makes his channel, he sets it up, he rips off other people, like, you know, that music in the background you heard. That was a rip-off of some YouTuber who made a meme based on the Clown World stuff. And that person actually took it from, it's just a remix, really, of another song that was used off of another meme, really. And he draws people in that way, and then he says, oh, well, this is what the news really is. I have the truth. And we have someone that in a position, when they trick you, they hoodwink you into gaining your trust, you could sell them anything if you're just not thinking. If you're thinking that Sargon's a good, decent guy, and that, you know, oh yeah, he's great and all that, you'll be hoodwinked to believe whatever bullshit comes his way. And the biggest source of this bullshit, there's really two sources of this. The first one being his ego, because he gets in the news a lot these days, or he gets into controversy a lot, period. And he will always push this thing. Like right here, when he says he's debunking things, when you debunk a claim, you have to put the claim first and then go after it. This is just him saying shit and people eating it up, gobbling it up like ice cream. And it really turns people into the biggest idiots on the planet. Like, there's people, like, and you know them. You know who I'm talking about. They're the type of people who thought the Liberals Project was a good idea. Although I should say that the Liberalists, now that Sargon has kind of disowned himself, has embarrassed himself to such a point, sections of the Liberalist community have decided to stop being Sargonites and say, you know what, we're going to go over here. Because they're seeing what he's doing to UKIP, and they're seeing what he's done to everything else, including the Liberalist movement itself, which he abandoned. And they're like, yeah, let's, you know, Sargon, their opinions range from full supporters to, in some sections, but mostly it seems to me to be neutral opinion to, we don't really like this guy. Screw you. However, nonetheless, they come out of the woodwork everywhere. And it's just insane and ridiculous. Alright, so... Alright, I'm going to go over these other things later. Alright, wait a minute. Here we go. At least the anti-Sargon I'm also going to read a couple of comments in chat. After all these years, I still don't know what happens. Well, no. Axis Fiver says, after all these years, I still don't know what makes Sargon tick. Early on, he wanted to be Christopher Hitchens. Yeah, he still does. He still bashes Christianity as an example every now and then. He still pushes the fedora tipping views and such like that. I also know that Christopher Hitchens had like a lot of neoconservative politics. So there's that. I'm not sure if like Sargon would agree with that particular part of Christopher Hitchens. At least the anti-Sargon videos Computing Forever and Independent Man don't exist anymore. From what I gather, like they weren't very solid in their criticisms against Sargon. Like there's plenty of videos that are attacking Sargon nowadays, though. Some of them come from feminists, which they're kind of hit and miss. Because, you know, while they're bashing Sargon, many of them are just, you know, whining about dumb shit. Medicare, of course, has done his take on Sargon. You could always go back to Verilo's channel, watch his old videos. And there's others. I know like a lot of the alt-right doesn't like Sargon because of his views on race. which are very incoherent to say the least. But yeah, there's still plenty of anti-Sargon videos. Oh, okay, so this is another thing I have to comment on real quick, but conclusion, false. Sargon was talking about someone else's position. You know, the biggest problem with this is that all these debunking videos of the media are either coming from Sargon or Sargon's friends. Like, that right off the bat should be enough to say, yeah, this might be kind of biased. And I believe the proof is in the pudding, because when they defend themselves, they're not calling out what the claims actually are. And when he declares the conclusion is false and Sargon was talking someone else's position, I'm willing to bet if I find that video, I'll find out that no, he wasn't. I'm willing to bet, because he didn't play the full thing, did he? He played part of it and then moved on. All right, so continuing. Claims Sargon thinks pedophilia is okay. All right, so let's see. Just gonna skim for past this point here and see how much of a clip he plays. Plays 4 minutes of the Amos Yee bit of his own Amos Yee video. Let's listen to and let's see what he chooses out of that.
The ancient Greeks practiced pederasty, and it was considered completely normal, where young boys would have relationships. But they weren't exploitative relationships. They were sexual.
Exactly.
They were also it was like a pair bonding, like a mentoring relationship. It was very strange, and I don't agree with any of this.
Somebody's going to misrepresent you and say we're going to abuse.
Somebody's going to misrepresent me, trying to accurately represent your position as it being my position, because I know what people are like. I personally think the age of consent laws at 16 are just fine. I think they're great. I think we should keep them like that. And I say that as a father. The reason I think that an age of consent law at, say, 16, I mean, even at 14 I find too young, but that's only because I have cousins who are young, and I don't think at 14 they should be having sex with adults, you know. I think it would be exploitative whether they realised it or not, because I don't think they're mature enough to really understand what they're doing. The reason I like age of consent laws, I approve of them, is because they're a blanket protection for people who would get into that situation without knowing exactly what they're doing, without and being exploited by an adult who was taking advantage of the fact that this young kid was 13, 14, they're just reaching their sexual maturity, they've got all these confusing feelings, they're not too sure, and they are going to end up experimenting in ways they might not actually be comfortable with whether they realise it. Sure. And so to make sure that none of these people are victimized in this way by an adult who's looking to exploit them, I think an age of consent law at 16, I think you know what you're doing. So I can accept that there may well be individual instances where no harm is done and the law is still broken, but I think the law's existence protects many other people, a greater number of people, from being exploited. And I think that, if a judge were to, I mean, if the priest was on trial and Milo was there and he was giving evidence, I imagine it would be up to the discretion of the judge to make a sensible decision in a case like that. So the priest may get the minimum punishment or something like that. But I don't think doing away with age of consent laws is a healthy thing to do.
Okay, so very easy to refute this. What Sargon did was he omitted all the stuff about Milo Yiannopoulos, about how there are possible relationships that are perfectly fine and beneficial between 13-year-olds and adults of 28, 25, whatever Milo, whatever version of Milo wants to tell that story of his encounter with quote-unquote Father Michael. The fact that he's using Milo as his example, the fact that he presented Milo as an example, the fact that he said that it would be an injustice, that it would be brought to a court and it would a pederast who rapes a kid should be given like a minimal sentencing. All that context gone, taken out of context for his own gain. That's his strategy here. All right. Okay, this is too funny not to play. If he's going to put his own channel, I have no problem playing this either.
See, look, this is what I mean about the chat. I just can't be bothered to deal with people who treat me like this. It's really annoying. Like, See, look, this is what I mean about the chat. I just can't be bothered to deal with people who treat me like this. It's really annoying. Like, you are acting like a bunch of niggers, just so you know. You act like white niggers. Exactly how you describe black people acting is the impression I get dealing with the alt-right. Do you not think that, like, we should have a level of decorum in interpersonal interaction?
Why would you ever play this ever again?
Kind of attitude. Is it? I know it's called trolling, but it's not like something I need to deal with if I don't want to have to deal with it.
Sargon, why?
Dude,
why did you think it was a good idea to put this in your video? This doesn't make you look good.
The most working class roots. At least my parents do. You work like enough class time now. Maybe you're just acting like a nigger, mate.
Why? Just why? Like, I mean, in no way does that make you look good, Sargon. And I'll tell you why. The reason it doesn't make you look good is because even if we were to say that saying the N-word, niggers, wasn't racist, like even if we were just like, go ahead and say that it has no, like, just isolate words, put them out of context from the rest of history and the way they were used, etc. And if you were to say that this is not a good look for a candidate, like even if we give you all those protections and stuff like that, we just say that you were just trolling, which, by the way, part of the troll was that white people are supposed to act dignified and respectful and all that, with the implication that, non-whites don't have that expectation for some reason. The fact of the matter is, the real criticism here, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the racial thing. I don't think it's Sargon making racist jokes or whatever. Because I make racist jokes. Everyone does. Or, maybe not everyone. Maybe there's people who are exceptions to that. But people have these kinds of things where they just say stupid shit. We get that. Now, if you're ever running for office, which I'm never going to run for office, I can guarantee you that much. It's not a good look. It makes you look stupid. And opens you up right for criticism for things like, well, if he's willing to consider and regard people as inferior in his messaging, maybe it's what he actually believes. Which is why, like, if you ever want to have any kind of political aspirations, just avoid the racial slurs. Like, just keep a clean look. Be the company salesman. Be the face of a company. That's how you have to present yourself. If you fail at this, it will come to bite you in the ass. And people like Sargon don't know how to handle it. But the real criticism here, because that's all well and good. But the thing that this really shows more than anything else is his ego. Because he's getting upset over the chat, making fun of him. And by the way, I was there. I saw the chat. I saw what they were saying. They weren't saying racial sorts of things. They were saying, they were criticizing him over his Kickstarter, his stupid liberalist project, and his general ego. Those are the three things they were going on at him about. So when he says that he did this to go troll racist trolls, he's lying. And I'm not just the one saying that either. I'm gonna pull up a tweet real quick because there's not just one side to, because wasn't the only witness to this events. Let me see. It was the person who actually hosted the stream. Give me a second. Okay, so this might take me a bit to find because I don't know this person's Twitter. Okay, we'll find it. Alright, I'm going to read off the chat for a second after I find okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, well, I can't find it immediately. I'll probably put it on screen another time. If someone has the tweet or an archive to this tweet, I know that that tranny, Michelle Caitlin, I don't know his real name. It doesn't really matter. He himself pointed out that it wasn't racist alt-right trolls or whatever that were trolling the chat. And I might be able to get in contact with at least one of the people that was there making Sargon so mad that he lost his cool, he lost his shit, and started spewing out racial epithets. That's the thing. Sargon could have just brushed it off, and instead of crying about, you guys, you're supposed to be polite and respectful. I'm a human being, don't you know? Like, also, wait a minute, let me see, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find that, because he left that part out. He left that part out of the thing. Let's find it. Because I know, I know it was... Give me a second. I know that he had said in that same stream, I'm a human being. Give me a second. Let me click this one here. Okay.
All right, we should be live.
All right. The chat seems to be age restrictor. It's going to make it harder to find the actual. I think it's right here.
He suggested that Norway was an ethno-state.
Nope, that's not it.
Sorry if you didn't, then I take that back. I was under the impression that he did. But even then, I've heard people saying don't really care. They don't care that the SJWs are ruining everything. They don't care.
Oh boy.
I mean, do they spend any time criticizing the SJWs?
I mean, they do.
Where?
Oh, don't you criticize the SJW? Man, I wasn't even looking for this clip. Just stumbled across it. I mean, this is one Sargon had to drag out of the records because he used that same rhetoric against guys like me and Verilo back in the GG Revolt days. Or, why are you attacking me for my fuck-ups? Don't you see that retard over there that you can punch? They're the real problem. I've made a lot of money attacking them. Why don't you attack them some more? Help me by attacking my enemies. Oi, mate. It's amazing to me. I guess this is before V started like coaching Sargon on like, you know, you know what? To be honest, I don't think I don't think that's proof of that because while V is a good spin doctor, well, most of the time he still fucks it up somehow. The thing about V is that it doesn't matter how much how competent V is. It doesn't matter how good of a teacher he is, how much he can spin the news to his favor. What will always happen every time is that Sargon will not learn. He'll keep on, his ego will always get the better of him, and he'll keep on fucking up, and it'll be hilarious every time. Speaking of which, let me see if I can find the.
Where do they do it?
I mean, they constantly talk about the problems with.
Go and bother like Mike.com's comment section or something. You know, they are actually getting millions of views, but the thing is, they just ignore you, which is why you don't, because you're just attention seekers.
Wow, he's really railing at the chat. I don't think this is I don't think Sargon wants you to hear this.
It's not about like actually doing any good. It's about getting attention. And see, like, kikes are ruining everything. good job. Should Snafflefield. You can make your movement look like you're not full of Nazis. Bravo.
I mean, it's just shitposting.
I know it's just shitposting, but it never stops, does it? That's the point. There is no.
Oh, I know it's shitposting, but it just never stops. You should have shielded his Patreon link at that point while he still had it.
Differentiation.
That's just internet culture. I mean, the chat is always just going to be shitposting.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing
can you see a single actual question?
No, it's just
exactly. No, you can't, because it's all just that. It's like I'm not debating alt-right nonsense again.
But I feel you're kind of letting it get to you.
Yes, because I am a person. Holy fuck! This is what I mean. Like, I'm being treated like I'm not a person. It's really. It's just like how Mike Enoch was treated when people found out his wife was Jewish.
Oh man, this is too funny. I should have started streaming like years ago. Like, honestly. I'm now wondering if we can put Sargon in this position again where he just completely loses his shit. I think he's gonna lose his shit anyway. Alright, I'm getting a link in the chat. Pink News UK summarizes the Sargon quoted. Well, let's see what the fags have to say. Alright. We'll go back to that video for sure, because it's just funny listening to it. UKIP candidate Carl Benjamin uses anti-gay slurs in past videos. Oh boy. They seem a little bit riled. Looks like the base gays aren't coming into Sargon's defense. Not good. I mean, here's another thing. I don't get how the same guy... You know, it's funny. Sargon will just defend this as satire or a joke or whatever. He'll defend his white nigger comments as a joke when we were talking about, like, you know, quotes like this and stuff like that. Which, you know, if he was consistent, that would make sense. But, hold on a second. Let's roll this back a bit.
But the thing is, they just ignore you, which is why you don't, because you're just attention seekers. It's not about, like, actually tops, does it? That's the point. There is no differentiation.
That's just internet culture. I mean, the chat is always just going to be shitposting.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing
Can you see a single actual question?
No, it's just
exactly. No, you
shitposting.
can't, because it's all just that. It's like I'm not debating alt-right nonsense again.
But I feel you're kind of letting it get to you.
Yes, because I am a person. Holy fuck.
I'm a person. How dare they be mean to me? And how dare they go ahead and try to use the say dumb things? Why won't they debate me on the points? I think someone said that the way Sargon acts is just like just like when Kenny Jones and Ross like defend whatever incoherent, idiotic nonsense that they have to talk about. G6 Entertainment in the chat says, I don't think these clips are as damning as you think they are. Oh boy, we have the Sargon Defense Force has arrived, I think. Alright, so what do you mean which clips in particular aren't as damning as, what do you mean by that? Can you expound on that? Which, by the way, if you want to come on the show, I'll let you on. Just go into the Discord and go into the Wildlands voice channel, and I'll drag you in. That'll be fun. Alright, so let's see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay, let me see if I can find him saying, like, I'm a human being. That's a part I want to listen to.
This is what I mean. Like, I'm being treated like I'm not a person. It's just like how Mike Enoch was treated when people found out his wife was Jewish. It's just like he had to go dark. He just had to go off the internet because of the way these people are treating him. It's like, holy shit, that's one of your own? Oh, he's married to a Jew. Well, I guess. That's a bit of bad luck. Did he marry her before he was an alt-writer? Yes, he did. Well, there we go. Kind of like Millennial Woe sucking a dick. You know? It's like, it's crazy. You guys have no decorum.
Oh, yeah. Like, they find out that Millennial Woes is sucking a dick, and then he accuses other people of lacking decorum. Not to mention the amount of profanities and explicitives this guy says. Not to mention all the quote-unquote satire and quote-unquote politically incorrect humor and starting a conversation he likes to engage in. This guy lacks... His ego blinds him. It really does.
There's no level too low to go to. So it's just like, I'm just not going to bother with it.
I mean, you did bother with it a lot.
Yeah, I know. I've tried. I've genuinely tried dealing with them, but it's just not worth my time.
I mean, you definitely...
Sargon has become the male version of Anise Sarkeesian now. Have I really? I mean, I'm literally reading what you say and talking to you about it, and all you can do is insult me and say I'm like someone who would never do that.
All right, so G6 Entertainment wants to debate me on the points, and he's gonna say that Sargon, like, what was his original? What did he say originally? He doesn't think that the quotes that I'm quoting of Sargon, the words he says that form sentences and ideas, aren't as damning as I think they are. So I'm gonna let him in on the air. I'm gonna let him say his piece. All right, let's go. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good.
I just want to start off by, I don't know if you're gonna remember me, but like I don't. there's not beef here. I got you on Skype actually. I hit you up like it's been a while, but I'm Michael like Ikayon. I'm the Skype. We used to be in that I'm still in it. That green grapist shit. I don't know if you in it anymore.
Oh, so we're the faggots of the Green Grapist. Oh, pleasure meeting. Like I don't remember you. I honestly don't.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to, but we don't got beef. A lot of them
Oh
don't.
no,
like
no,
you,
I got
like,
beef.
we don't got no
Why are
beef.
we okay with the blackmailing shit?
Nigga, I'm gonna just let you know right now. I don't know anything about any of their drama bullshit.
Oh, but you're part of
the.
you're part of their Skype group. But once it becomes inconvenient, it's suddenly I don't know.
I don't participate in any of that. I just kind of shitpost in there occasionally. I'm not really. very active in that.
I'm sure. Just wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. So what's your defense of Sargon?
Well, I mean, I just don't see. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I got friends, that used to watch Sargon or do watch Sargon, whatever, and they got beef. And obviously, niggas in Green Grapists, most of them don't really like Sargon either. I've been watching Sargon since Gamergate days.
Hold on a second. Before you said that you don't pay attention to the Skype group. Now you do. Which is it?
It's a Skype group. I'm in it. I'm in all these
so you're
Discords.
in the Skype group, but you don't pay attention to it when there's people are doing gay ops on people. But when
I have no clue what you're talking about, my dude. I don't know why you're trying to be like I said, we don't got beef, my guy. I don't know why you're trying to be confrontational.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're a good little boy. You didn't do nothing. All right, well, what's your point about Sargon?
Bro, I got you on Skype. Look at it.
I don't use Skype anymore. I haven't checked, dude. I haven't checked Skype in years. I'm not. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or caveats about that. I don't check Skype. Period. I've left Skype because
I'm telling you that so you can look at our messages because I think you're thinking that I'm some type of agent or something. I just saw that you were streaming. I've been subbed to you for a while. I saw that you were streaming or whatever. I saw that has Sargon in it. I'm like, oh, don't tell me he's trying to defend this. I saw that pedo shit and all that, and obviously that's been debunked and all that. I'm like, oh, don't tell me he's trying to defend that. I don't think you are, from what I can tell.
Wait, go back up a bit. What do you mean it's been debunked?
Well, is it Newsweek that put out whatever article talking about, and they just kind of spliced together a bunch of clips to make him look bad? I mean, you don't gotta like Sargon to admit that. Yeah, they're just kind of trying to fuck him.
I already stated as much, but it's not been debunked.
It's been debunked that those quotes that they had in those articles don't exist in the context that they're making them. Like they spliced them together. Those quotes
Which articles?
don't exist.
Can you cite them?
The Newsweek one. I think that's the main one.
Okay.
Is that not the main one?
I'd read the Daily Mail one. Newsweek met
Or Daily Mail. That might be the big one then. But yeah, either one. They still got these quotes in them that are kind of spliced.
Okay, which quotes? Was it any of the quotes that I went over?
I've only been watching. I only jumped in the stream for the past 15, 20 minutes now.
Okay, so how do you know they're being taken out of context exactly?
I'm just assuming.
You're assuming.
Well, actually, I said earlier. I was
they're
assuming
debunked,
that
but now you're assuming they were taken out of context, which you're confusing me.
No, so these niggas who are writing these articles, mainstream media type niggas, they already, they got their own reasons to not like Sargon and all this. So they're taking shit out of context to make him look bad. I ain't really talking about you. I got on the stream because I'm like, oh, don't tell me he's trying to defend this. It looks like you're not. So there's not an issue there. I don't think you're trying to take them out of context. I'm sure you got your own reasons.
Okay, so let's just go back a bit. Let's just go back several paces back again. All right. Right here, you say you're G6 Entertainment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure about that. I don't think these clips are as damning as you think they are. What did you mean by
that was just the one that you got replaying of him talking about, oh, I'm a human. I'm like,
I mean, do you know why I was playing that?
Something about alt-right.
No. Why was I playing that clip? What was the point of that?
Oh, no, you tell me.
The point of that was to point out that the real criticism with him spurging out using racial epithets wasn't that he was being a racist, but the major point there is the man cannot control his ego. And that's proof of it. He can't take people shitposting in the chat.
So being annoyed at the chat means that I mean I'm sure you got other reasons to think that he got an ego, but to me,
the guy goes ahead and he complains that he's being harassed, that it's constant shit posts, he can't take it, etc., and he spurgs the fuck out. And it's not just that he flips out. That's not it. He flips out because his ego blinds him from the reality.
I mean, I don't remember a whole bunch with you and the Green Grapist type niggas, but I do remember some streams. I do remember that.
We can talk about the Grapist thing, but I thought you said that you weren't involved with that.
I'm not. I'm saying,
okay,
but
so
I remember
what
these niggas are telling me. Like, there's some streams, and I've heard some of these shits from these streams.
Okay, cool. We can talk about that if you like, but would you concede that?
No, I'm not. That's not really the point I'm trying to make. I'm just making that for you to say.
Oh,
that
you're making that like you're making a side. I see what you're doing. You're trying to shift the topic because you know I'm correct about that.
No, bro, please. If you would just
bro, please, dude, back up. Okay, so before we talk about allegations of hypocrisy or allegations that I'm a spurg, let's just concede that Sargon himself is a massive spurg. And the reason he's a massive spurg is because it has an ego the size of Jupiter.
If that's the way you want to look at it, I mean,
I think I've demonstrated it.
That just sounds like your opinion. I can't dispute that.
Okay. So what else did you want to talk about?
I mean, I guess you wanted to know about that comment. I guess we explained it, and I guess it just came down to a difference of opinion for that one, at least. So.
Okay, so it seems that you were incorrect, and that
How can I'd be incorrect if I disagree with your opinion?
I mean, dude, if your opinion is that the moon is made of cheese, you're still wrong. Like, you can have an opinion.
You're saying that he has an ego. That's not something you can quantifiably prove, is it?
Oh, that's just autistic. Okay, do you have anything else to say?
I mean, I still got you on Skype. I hit you up sometime last year, so that. Recently,
I use Discord nowadays. I don't use Skype.
Okay, I mean, I could get you on Discord or something now I'm in here, but like I'm saying, I don't got everyone else. Green Grapist. Whenever you come up, they're talking shit. I can send you screenshots. I'll constantly be like, hey, I don't got no beef with him, so I don't participate in talking shit.
That's great. If you see the Grapist again, call a bunch of faggots. And actually, if you're hanging out with them, you're probably one yourself, so.
I can relay the message if you want. I mean,
dude, I don't want you to relay the message. Like, do you have anything interesting to say?
I mean, if you want to talk about Sargon, we can talk about him. I've been watching him for a minute. I don't really see any reason to. I got my own beefs with him. I still watch him. I think that his content can be useful in some ways. Him running for UKIP. Obviously, I don't live there, but I don't disagree with it. It's the same if someone like fucking Ralph Retort or something was running for office. I'd vote for him just for the fact that you could get a shitlord in office.
You would vote for Ralph Retort? You would vote for a guy who has a felony?
Okay, maybe not Ralph Retort. I was just trying to make a point that I'd vote for some.
I just think you would vote for people because they're popular on YouTube.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Kind of hilarious.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Laters.
All right, bro. There's no beef here. I'm just letting you know. I don't know about you, but I don't got no beef with you.
Just give me a second. Okay. That was a big-brained interlude about how my statements were incorrect for some reason. That. Apparently not the case because he just conceded on me on every point. So, yeah. All right. That's the thing about anyway. All right. So what else is there to go through? All right. I think that wraps it up for tonight. Oh wait, no. There's actually a bit more I want to talk about. Yeah, there's also another. I actually want to close this off with a little bit of a thing on Sargon, which something that people really haven't been considering. I don't think that. Give me a second. I don't believe that Sargon is really serious when he says he's going to win. I don't believe it for a couple of reasons. The first of those reasons being that he said it himself in his original video, in his announcement video that I played on this channel, that he doesn't want to win. Like, he doesn't want to he doesn't want to be running. He doesn't want to be campaigning for office. He also said in in the media when he had that big conference that I'm just here to troll you. Now, we could say those are scripted lines and such, etc. But here's the reality. The reality of this is that Sargon may have written that down. It might be in a script. It may have been some kind of subconscious thing. But either intentionally, accidentally, or inadvertently, whatever, he told the truth. He doesn't want to be running for office. He is not sincere in trying to get out there. What he's trying to do is he's trying to go ahead and promote himself by becoming the martyr. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Like, he's going to put himself out there, present himself as a sacrificial lamb, and shows people how it really is. And he's going to do everything he can in his power to present himself as the victim. Because you got to remember, Sargon loves playing the victim. He said that on stream. He said it in multiple occasions. He said that that's how the SJWs win. It's one of their tactics. It's a card he loves to play, and it's something that he loves doing. Now, when it comes to and therefore, when it comes to Sargon risking his reputation, his political aspects, the UKIP party, even the Brexit movement. All these things that Sargon claims to champion for, he doesn't care. He'll sacrifice everything and everything just to boost his own ego, his own profile, etc. The reality is, but there's one thing that will bite him in the ass, and that's the thing that Coach Red Pill said. That he is going to lose his channel. There's just no doubt about it. He's getting all this negative attention in the press for things he said online, for things he said on YouTube, for things he said in the media. And, some of it's coming from a point of actual concern, like when it comes to his pedosexual comments. And other bits is kind of just detraction from the media. They just want him gone by any means. But a lot of the criticism is accurate. A lot of even if it is, coming from a place of malice. A lot of the criticism is, and regardless of that, the perception is going to be to the general public I don't know. What's two English sounding names? Let me think. I'm just not fluent enough in Anglo to remember two good ones. But when it comes to Joe and John Smith living in England, they're going to take a look at the news and say, oh my gosh, this guy's such a horrible person who says all these racist, sexist, homophobic comments. They need to be gone. And the company's going to go, we don't want to advertise on YouTube, and he's going to lose it. He already lost his Patreon, and he has Subscribestar, but how much is he really making on there? Let's assume that Subscribestar is actually paying him money. Sargon claims it is. I have no reason to disbelieve this at this point, considering he's been surviving. However, it only shows a subscriber count. I'm willing to bet if Sargon revealed what he was making at this point, it would be a lot less than he was when he lost his Patreon. And I don't see Sargon recovering from this. I think this is actually I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to say it's definitely the end, because politics has gotten so crazy that the clown world meme is not an exaggeration whatsoever. It is the reality. So there is a sliver of a chance he might actually make it to EU. But if that happens, something terribly wrong has happened to all the other candidates, including Nigel Farage, who I'm kind of liking more and more because, he's actually has the conviction and has the backbone to actually stand for what he believes in, despite the party's co-option. Honestly, maybe that's just because he's running against Sargon. I will admit, maybe there's a little bit of bias there. That's not an objective opinion. But I do have to say that, according to the polls, Farage is beating Sargon as far as as the alternative party goes. Maybe he'll actually win MEP. Maybe his party will succeed. And if they don't, and I guarantee that if he doesn't succeed, Labor or Conservative will. So yeah, if Sargon's channel dies, then he bites the dust. He is done. He's done like dinner. The end. If Sargon's the only real winning move that Sargon has is if, for some reason, the the stars align and like God shows mercy to him, and his channel remains active, then he can do his then he can get as many people as he wants to his YouTube channel and get him over there and play this victim martyr card. And there'll be many people who will fall for that bit. A lot of people will fall for that play. They'll buy into it hook, line, and sinker, etc. And yeah, in that case, honestly, I don't even think that's a possibility, to be honest, because so many people have been inoculated to this guy that he's laughed at by the rest of the internet except his core audience, except the Skeptifag community that is comprised of like seriously, even people that were dead on his side before are now turning against him. So it's like, I don't know how big that base really is at the end of the day. All right, so there was some other stuff I wanted to cover, but this is an ongoing thing, and we'll have plenty of more nights to cover it. In fact, I think I'll do another stream tomorrow night, and yeah, so we'll cover more Sargon stuff, and we'll also get some other casts of characters as well, like Andy. Like honestly, Andy's one of my favorite people to cover on this channel, so we're definitely going to be covering more Andy next time. Sticks and Hammer, I've been threatening to cover. I said I'd be doing this night. I just didn't have time for. I don't think I have time for him at this point. But tomorrow night, yeah, we'll definitely go ahead and look into Sticks, using a dead friend to promote himself. And yeah, all right. So with that said, I want to read the chat before I close out. Let's just go up a bit. And there was a lot of comments after that. Big brain intelligent person came in saying like, Sargon didn't do nothing. Statements weren't as damning as I was making them out to be. His ego isn't that huge, okay? He's a good guy. He's gonna lead UKIP into greatness. Man, just. All right, so I'm actually gonna start with the first comment he had. These debunking videos are being made for normies who only know about Sargon through the MSM, not shitlords like you and others who may have grievances with Sargon based on more niche situations. I'm going to say that the normies largely won't care. Sargon is not as big as he thinks he is. Sargon is a nonce. The debunking videos will not be watched by boomers who vote UKIP. Sargon's UK subscribers are probably 10 to 15% of his total subs and represent a tiny voting statistic. I don't think that Sargon's subs represent any statistic at all in England to any accurate measure because he's a global YouTuber. His audience does not majoritarily come from England. I would say that his audience probably majoritarily comes from America. That would be worth looking into in the future. I can't say that definitively, so I'll couch that statement. Yeah. Okay, so moving down a bit. Okay. As if this guy's running for a serious political candidacy. Yeah, I mean, the guy took time out of his campaign to actually reply to my first video on him. Just put it that way. His priorities are all upside down and backwards. Silverstein says, LOL, they bitching about the 6 Gorillion. Yeah, that's what fags tend to do. Referring to the Pink News article, I think. Or it might be something else. Going down a bit. Grape Cuck, it's a do lets her the jungle noises. Ook ook eek eek. In real life, innocent shit. Yeah, that's Sargon. He's a good boy. He didn't do nothing. Learned that from that was probably that. I think that became the loyalists' message during Gamergate at the end of it. Just how great and awesome and impenetrable Sargon was. 0 flaws, great person. Not a fat loser who's failed at everything in life and always will fail. How the fuck has this been debunked? Mate, I'm in the UK, tempted to come on. By the way, when I make the open call for people to come on, like, I'm open to just about anyone coming in and coming on for the most part. Obviously, I don't do the stupid free speech advocacy or something like that. So if you want to come in, just join the Discord, and you can join the Wildlands voice channel, and I'll drag you in. So the invitation is open there. Assuming that you haven't been banned, in which case you're shit out of luck. Honestly, you're acting like a white nicka, mate. Okay. BuzzFeed, Daily Mail, The Independent, The Telegraph, The Sun. Yeah, there are a lot of articles attacking Sargon, and I don't blame them one bit. Well, I mean, I do blame them a bit, a tiny bit, but I've said this before, but yeah, a lot of their motivation is just attraction. They just want to ruin the guy because they don't like him. They're not actually interested in the public interest necessarily. I do add the caveat there, necessarily, because a lot of his statements, because the guy is a political candidate. Realistically, political candidates are public interests. Like a lot of the journalists, they've been tough on him, but fair. Like the ones that have been interviewing him, like the one from Sky News as an example. They're not. That I don't believe that interviewer, as an example, was being malicious. So it's not everyone, not everyone in the media is maliciously smearing and attacking Sargon. A lot of them are asking him hard, tough questions and presenting the facts about his character and what he's done in the past, etc. And a lot of them, and as far as looking into his policies, we'll be looking into his policies. I don't know if like the outlets are looking into his policies because honestly, are they going to take this guy seriously? He's a YouTuber. Like, seriously, like, oh, there is one policy. I'll briefly touch on this and we'll go into more detail later on. Does everyone remember that stupid idea he came up with back in 2016? I forget exactly when. I think it was in February of that year. But he launched a petition saying that advocating to ban all social justice classes, whatever this ambiguous label they put on like all the social sciences, and says to force them out of colleges. Now that's some really dumb level shit. And like, surprisingly, the skeptic community actually called him out on that. They actually said, hey, Sargon, your idea is retarded. I mean, that was a great policy, wasn't it? From a so-called libertarian candidate, from a guy who values freedom of idea, of all these freedoms and principles. Yeah, that's the most political action Sargon's done before joining up with UKIP. Seriously, that's about it. Unless we're going to count tweeting and hashtagging and making videos as, political action, which, okay, buddy. Yeah, sure. Okay. Silverstein says, I'm assuming that I know about what I'm talking about. Shit. Now, I don't think that caller really examines the issue of Sargon, or any issue for that matter, very well. It depends on the child. Carl would agree there. Carl would agree. Safe to say Jim was right. Jim tends to be right. There's cases where he's wrong. But the tendency is Jim is right. Moving down a bit. Oof, dead air. Well, yeah, dead air. I mean, at least that's not 90% of the show, like it is on, I don't know, is Tonkasaw still around even? It's a good question. Honestly, it isn't. I just don't care about Tonkasaw anymore. He's just kind of irrelevant. Sargon is a narcissist. Agreed. He definitely has an ego, no matter how bruised and repressed it is. Definitely agreed. Skype is dead. Only people who use Skype is people like Sargon and his folk. LOL. Not wrong, because the Grapists were good friends with Sargon. The Grapists have a Skype group with Sargon, or at least had one at one time. And yeah, that's what they like to do. They like to go ahead, shit on their detractors, shit on Sargon's detractors, and try to use any means whatsoever to get rid of them. Make them look like idiots, try to pretend to be their friend, and pull all kinds of really gay, really stupid shit. Reading on. The fact he replied to a 20-viewer stream and commented on it shows how butthurt he is over this. Sargon, yeah, definitely. I will vote for the gun. Probably not the guy's wisest declaration. Our guests. Vote for gun. Vote for gun 2020. All right, guys, you heard it here first. Okay. Is he gonna? Is his vice president gonna be that Yang character? And are they gonna give 1,000 Arby's to every citizen in the United States? I wonder. Oh boy, do I wonder. I think that yeah, we'll be looking at the gun pretty soon. I don't think people who were in jail can run. I don't think felons can run. That's a good question. I don't know if felons can run for president or not. I'm presuming no. Felons generally can't vote in elections, so I would say that Ralph is unprivileged in being able to run for office to begin with. Okay. Oh, G6 Entertainment says, I was trying to make the point that I'd vote for internet personalities for the sake of a meme, which is why I'd support Sargon's UKIP run. Yeah, no, that kind of attitude is what got us guys like Trump that everyone seems to hate now. I personally am not a fan of Trump, and I think that a lot of his positions were, in retrospect, based on hype and not based on any expertise. And honestly, I regret voting for the guy. I wish I never did, and it was stupid of me to support him. At one point, I got kind of critical of. I had kind of this attitude about Trump. Kind of changed my mind at the last minute, and I think that was a mistake. I think that my entire life, in every election, I voted for the lesser evil, and that was definitely a mistake. I think it's stupid. I think it's retarded that you think that the political system's going to change, because realistically, maybe there might be some changes. Like, for example. It might be possible to overturn Roe v. Wade. And sure, there's been minor victories here and there, but the way I look at it, and you can feel free to disagree with this. The way I look at it, I just don't see politics being the answer here. Like, and I'm not advocating any kind of violent revolt or anything like that. I think that's more retarded than being involved with politics. Like, but what I am saying is that we should be preparing for the inevitable collapse of the society and other things which will cause general turmoil and degradation, and just shield ourselves away from it. And maybe there will become a point where we can rebuild, but I don't know. I'm just not really. I just honestly, I have a very bleak outlook about the whole thing, because I don't see enough people doing the right thing. I don't really see people focusing on what really matters. I see a bunch of dumb ideologies popping up here and there. So, all right. But point is, even if you disagree with that, even if you think that even if you still have faith in Trump for some reason, even if you still believe in the Republican Party, or whatever, voting for candidates based on memes is retarded. Like, seriously, you should, if you're gonna vote for somebody and you think it matters that your vote counts. At this point, it should be based on, what the guy's going to do, how competent it is, his character, stuff like that. That's the stuff that should be relevant. Not how funny he is, not how he makes you laugh, not how he's provides entertainment value, because that's not really going to get anywhere. Okay. All right, so what else is there? All right. With that said, oh, and Master Doctrine has linked the petition, which that's a useful link. I'm going to bookmark that. Oh my gosh, this is so cringy. I almost feel like, all right, if it wasn't so late, I'd read it off, but that'll be for the next time. All right. So last comment I'm going to read for the night. Oh, wait, two last comments. Silvertine says, it was regarding the Sodomites Pink article crying over the 6th Gorillion. I thought so. And Master Doctrine says, Gun/Seattle for Truth 2020. What a ticket. A guy who's punched a cop and a guy who killed his own dad running for office. Oh man. All right. Okay, so I hope you guys had a good night. Tomorrow's stream, what are we going to talk about? Andy, Sargon, Styx, and maybe a bit of Ralph. Maybe a bit of the gun. All right. Have a good night, and peace out.